Welcome to a belated Metaphysical Monday Madness, hosted by House of Sage and Lavender. I am Brittany, and tonight's topic is on basic terminology, general altars, and how to create a sacred space. This week, I was feeling under the weather, so here is our information video. A second video will be uploaded, and we'll have a few DIYs, so be sure to check it out. Let's start off with some basic terms. You will hear on a somewhat regular basis. What is paganism? Paganism is considered a religion other than one of the world's main religions, specifically a non-Christian or pre-Christian religion. A simplistic definition is a polytheistic or pantheistic nature-worshipping religion, meaning the worship of many gods and goddesses. What is Wicca? Wicca is a predominantly Western movement whose followers practice witchcraft, nature worship, and who see it as a religion based on pre-Christian traditions of Northern and Western Europe. It spread through England in the 1950s and subsequently attracted followers in Europe and the United States. What is witchcraft? Witchcraft is a religious practice involving magic and affinity with nature, usually within a pagan tradition. What is the difference? So, how I usually explain this is, paganism is an umbrella term like Christianity. Wicca, Draconic, Dianic, Celtic, etc. is likened to being a Baptist, Methodist, Catholic. They are branches with varying degrees but share basic concepts. Witchcraft, however, is the practice of magic, and yes, there are Christian witches. Next question is, what is the Wheel of the Year, Sabbats, and Sabbats? The Wheel of the Year is the combined term for the Sabbats, which are basically the holy days of a pagan celebrates. We will go over each of these in separate videos. In the meantime, you can check the channel for the ones covered so far, which, as of today, is only Beltane. Sabbats is the 13 full moons in a solar year. We will also go into depth over the full moons and all the phases in a later video. What is bright blessings, blessed be, marry me, marry par, and marry me again? These are just types of greetings and partings you may hear amidst like-minded folks. Altar. An altar is a consecrated place that holds the witches' implements, their tools. It could be a table, a bench, a tree stump, a rock, a shelf, a dresser. Some traditions recommend that the altar be circular and it stand within a magic circle, drawn on the ground. We will go in depth in a few moments on altars. An athame or athlame is a black-handled, double-edged dagger with a magnetized blade. It represents the witch's power and is used in rituals. It's a clear phallic symbol, though the pointed blade suggests the element of fire, which it also symbolizes. The act of plunging it into the chalice represents the union of the male and female principles. It's also used to mark a magical circle. It's not used for cutting. If witches want to actually cut something, they use a bowline. Besom. A ceremonial broom, usually used to sweep away negative energy before casting a circle. A Book of Shadows is a book of spells, recipes, rituals, and other information. Please be sure to check the video from last week on this topic. A bowline is a white-handled knife used to carve candles, harvest herbs, etc. A cauldron is a three-legged cookie pot, usually cast iron, used for making potions, scrying, and as a censer. On an altar, it could also represent the goddess. Chalice. This tool can represent water on the altar and may be used to hold wine or juice for an offering. Circle. A circle is used to cast for ritual or celebration. We will go more into depth in a later video on circles. A coven. A congregation of witches, traditionally limited to 13 or less. Dedication. A ritual where a witch dedicates herself to the craft and vows to remain steadfast in their chosen path. Elements: earth, water, air, fire, and spirit. Pentagram or pentacle. A 5-pointed star, sometimes enclosed in a circle. It is often used to represent earth on an altar. So moving on, let's talk about an altar. An altar is going to be a very personal thing depending on your path. If you are a beginner, which from here on in, I will refer as a neophyte, because I really don't like the term baby witch. You may not know what path you will follow, so we will start off with basic items that you can adjust to as we go. Sorry, allergies. First, an altar usually has a representation of the goddess and god, also known as the Lord and Lady. This can be figurines or just simply candles. Gold and silver pillar candles can stand in for them, or for a less polytheistic version, use black and white candles to represent the duality. Note here that a cauldron mentioned above also represents the goddess. A cauldron option could be simply a dish, a bowl. Think outside of the box with these altar items, neophytes. We don't have to spend money to be witches. In the DIY video, I will include making a god-goddess representation out of clay, which I got from the Dollar Tree. While the cauldron represents the goddess, the athame represents the god. Another outside-the-box idea, a butter knife can stand in for an athame, or even a pocket knife. Next, we usually represent the elements on an altar. These can be candles, red for fire, green for earth, yellow for air, blue for water. Note here that generally, east is air, fire is south, west is water, and north is earth. But if that doesn't click with you, then do what feels right. Me personally, because I live in Texas, I feel that water is in the south, fire is in the west, with north and east staying earth and air. Air can be represented by feathers, incense, or a wand. Fire by redstone, an athame. Water can be a chalice or a goblet. Earth by stones, a dish of salt, or dirt, or pentacle. I will also be doing a DIY for the elements as well. Some other items you might think about is an offering libation dish. That is something we will talk more about when we discuss rituals and spell work, but basically it's something that you put things in for the gods that you are petitioning. Okay, what else? An altar cloth. This could be simply a scarf or a piece of fabric. This will help protect the surface of your altar, plus help with your mindset in this area. Is special and shouldn't be cluttered with random stuff like car keys, makeup, your phone, etc. Moving on from tools, let's talk a little about location of altars and creating a sacred space. Are you in the closet or can't have an altar in the open? I already gave you one option with just the different candles, but there are other options. An out-of-the-box option is draw an altar in a notebook or in your book of shadows. Another outside-the-box option is, if you're good with visual meditation, is to create one in your mind. There are also travel altars, which range from Altoid tins to shoe boxes. You can even find a little toolbox at Dollar Tree that you can use to store your altar supplies or witch supplies in. Altars can be tucked away in an armoire or dresser drawer if need be. They can be atop a dresser, on a windowsill, on a shelf, or multiple shelves, as y'all can see with mine. It's my moon phases. That up there is my my sea altar. I'll say sea altar, but that's my spirit guide. It's, Oshan and Yamea. Down here is Santa Morta, I'm actually working on her altar right now. And then my main altar is below, behind me. As you can see, there are multiple options for where you can have your altar. So creating a sacred space goes hand in hand with an altar. But even without an altar, you want to create a space that is for you. So depending on, of course, how much space you have to create one, which I'm going to do a little mini series on creating a sacred space on with it, like in a closet or on a shelf or a corner of the room, etc. So depending on if you will be meditating, doing yoga, or doing spiritual work, is going to influence the things in your space. A comfortable place to sit. This can be a comfy chair or floor pillow or a yoga mat if you're doing yoga. You're going to want to think about lighting. Daylight during the day, soft lights at night, you know, a lamp with lampshade, string lights, candles. If you can find them, salt lamps are amazing and they help purify the air. I actually have two. One right now, I can't get the light to work. I gotta get that fixed. And then I have another one that actually has a little indentation with a little glass dish that you can put essential oils in, and the heat from the lamp warms it up, and you can smell this. So basically, your aromatherapy. But it does help. You can actually find some of these at thrift stores. I actually found mine at thrift stores. Or you can check Five Below. Five Below actually has some. And that's actually another favorite store of mine to check out. Do you want music or nature sounds or silence? These are simple things to add. You can use your laptop or even your phone for this. Pandora and YouTube both have nature options, meditation music options, basically anything you're wanting. Pretty much anything else you could want is up to you. Maybe your sacred space will be a closet, filled with cushions, maybe a blanket, string some lights, put up a gauzy curtain. I mean, whatever you want or feel gives you peace will be your sacred space. So I covered a lot of information tonight, so let it sink in, and be sure to check the DIY video later in the week. If you are participating in the weekly homework, this is your assignment. If you don't already have an altar or sacred space, I want you to do some inspiration research. You can look on YouTube, Pinterest, Google, Instagram if you want. You can check the hashtags, creating a sacred space, hashtag sacred space, hashtag altars. Take what you learn and create your own. And if you want to, then you can show me on Instagram or Facebook. You can use the hashtag Wyrd Brew Study Group, which is WYRD BREWSTUDYGROUP, or you can direct message me on Instagram at lunaseasdreams. So until next week, like this video, leave me some love, and hit that subscribe bell. Blessed be.